Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest family feud that makes Thanksgiving dinners look like UFC fight night because 50 Cent just went nuclear on his own son. Yes, you heard me right. The man who gave us Get Rich or Die Trying just dropped the parental diss track of the century. You too grown for child support. And the internet? Oh, it's combusting like a cheap grill at a 4th of July cookout. Picture this. Your dad isn't just any dad. He's 50 Cent, a rap mogul, TV boss, petty king, and the guy who once survived 9 bullets but apparently couldn't survive his son asking for allowance at age 27. That's right, 27. Bro, at 27 you're supposed to be paying rent. Not begging daddy for child support like it's lunch money in middle school. This meltdown has everything. Generational beef, petty Instagram shade, fans choosing sides like it's the Super Bowl, and the kind of family drama that makes the Kardashians look like the Brady Bunch. Secrets are spilling, reputations are wobbling, and 50 is dragging his son harder than Ja Rule at a Versus. And trust me, this is only the beginning. It all started with one post, one clapback, one sentence that could end family reunions forever. You too grown for child support. And just like that, 50 Cent detonated a bomb not in the rap game, not in Hollywood, but in his own living room. This wasn't just a father scolding his son. This was a billionaire mogul airing family business so loud the neighbors 3 states overheard it. Forget love and hip-hop, this was love and hip not paying bills. Let's rewind. 50 Cent, aka Curtis Jackson, has always been the king of petty. This is the man who once bought out 200 front row seats at a Ja Rule concert just so Ja would perform to empty cheers. The man who turned trolling into an Olympic sport. So if you thought he was going to quietly Venmo his grown son a child support check, you clearly don't know the 50 playbook. Silence is weakness in his world, and pettiness is power. Now, his son Marquise isn't some little kid. He's not in grade school, not in college, not even fresh out of trade school. This man is 27. 27. That's old enough to have your own family, your own car, your own bills, and your own Amazon Prime account. But instead of grinding, instead of hustling, instead of living up to the Jackson DNA that gave the world a rap empire, he's allegedly crying out for child support like he just lost his lunch money to the school bully. And 50, he's not having it. He didn't just say no. He said it with the venom of a man who once told an entire rap industry, "I run New York." He basically told his son, "Grow up, pay your own damn bills, and stop embarrassing me in front of the internet." It was savage, it was brutal, and it was peak 50. The fans, they split like Moses parting the Red Sea. On one side, you had the Team Marquise crowd. People saying 50 should step up, be a father, and stop dragging his child even if that child is a full-grown adult eligible for his own AARP membership in a decade. On the other side, you had the Team 50 army screaming, "Amen, tell him to get a job." One fan even tweeted, "At 27, I was paying child support, not asking for it." Savage. But here's where it gets nastier. The history between 50 and Marquise isn't exactly warm and fuzzy. Their beef goes back years long before this latest explosion. Marquise has taken shots at his dad online, made subtle digs about abandonment, and at one point even posed with one of 50's enemies just to twist a knife. And 50? Oh, he didn't let it slide. He once said publicly he wouldn't mind if his own son got hit by a bus. A bus. Most dads brag about their kids' college graduations. 50 out here wishing public transportation accidents on his offspring. That's not just strain, that's scorched earth parenting. So when Marquise starts talking about child support at 27, you know 50 so red. This wasn't just about money, this was about principle. In 50's eyes, giving his son cash at 27 is rewarding entitlement, feeding a monster he already thinks is ungrateful. In Marquise's eyes, it's about what he feels he was owed, about a father who he claims wasn't there. And caught in the middle, millions of fans eating popcorn, watching this family feud play out on Instagram like it's pay-per-view. The memes flew instantly. One had 50 Cent edited into a Maury episode, holding a DNA test saying, "You are the father, but not the ATM." Another had Marquise photoshopped into a stroller with the caption, 27 years young. The internet has no chill. And in this case, neither did 50. But let's not act like this is just funny. Underneath the jokes, this is raw, toxic family drama on display. It's the messy reality nobody wants to admit. Sometimes being rich doesn't fix being broken. Money can buy you mansions, Bugattis, and champagne showers, but it can't buy you peace at home. And 50 Cent, the man who turned poverty into power, is proving that when family beef gets personal, even billionaires bleed. The irony: 50 built an empire teaching people how to hustle, how to grind, how to get rich or die trying. He turned his rags to riches story into a blueprint. Yet here's his son, not following the blueprint but demanding the cheat code, a lifetime allowance. And 50's response? Brutal, but consistent with his brand. He didn't get rich by giving handouts. He got rich by dragging his way through the mud. In his eyes, Marquise asking for child support at 27 isn't just weak, it's disrespecting the entire hustle. And the more you think about it, the crazier it gets. Imagine any other 27-year-old standing in court, trying to argue for child support. The judge would probably laugh, hand them a job application, and tell them to grow up. Yet because it's 50 Cent's son, the whole internet is debating whether this is fair or foul. Let's be real. This isn't just family drama. This is a generational war, father vs. son, ego vs. entitlement. And the worst part, both of them are so stubborn, so committed to their pride, that reconciliation feels impossible. 50 isn't the type to apologize. And Marquise? He clearly isn't backing down. That means we're not just witnessing a fight, we're watching a legacy fracture in real time. The first reactions were explosive. Blogs went wild. Headlines screamed like someone caught Beyond cheating. Fans left thousands of comments under 50's post, half dragging Marquise for being spoiled, half dragging 50 for being cold. Some even said this feud is darker than his beef with Ja Rule, which is saying something because 50 kept that beef alive for 2 decades like it was a pet goldfish. And that's the thing, when 50 Cent beefs, he doesn't just fight. He wages psychological warfare. He finds the weakness, the soft spot, the jugular, and he bites. For Ja, it was career relevancy. For his own son, it's the idea that he'll never measure up, never be independent, never step out of his father's shadow. That's not just shade, that's a hurricane. So here we are. A father who refuses to play the ATM, and a son who refuses to let go of the grudge. The internet is torn, the memes are savage, and the drama is hotter than ever. And trust me, this was only the opening act. If 50 Cent lighting up his son was the match, then the internet was the gasoline, and let me tell you, that fire spread faster than gossip at a family cookout. Within hours, social media turned into a courtroom, and everyone had an opinion. This wasn't just father and son drama anymore. This was a full-blown cultural debate. What age is too old to still be begging for child support? Twitter did what Twitter does best: roast. One user posted, 27 years old asking for child support? Bro, at 27 you're supposed to be paying your kids' daycare, not begging daddy for yours. Another wrote, imagine deeming your dad for child support while your beard is fully connected. The memes were brutal. One edit had Marquise photoshopped into a stroller with a pacifier, being pushed by 50 Cent down the street. Caption, when your child support comes with Uber Eats. But it didn't stop at memes. Celebrities had to jump in, because cloud is oxygen in Hollywood. Rappers, comedians, even washed-up reality stars threw in their 2 cents. Some sided with Marquise, saying 50 was too harsh and should have been more compassionate. Others defended 50, calling Marquise entitled and spoiled. Fat Joe, for example, allegedly hinted during an IG Live that real men stop asking for handouts once they can grow a beard. Ouch! Even Kevin Hart joked in a stand-up set, 27? Man, at 27 I was paying rent, buying diapers, and getting cheated on. Ain't no way I'm asking my dad for allowance. The crowd lost it. And of course, the internet being the internet, fans dug deep into the archives. Old interviews resurfaced where Marquise complained that $6,700 a month wasn't enough child support when he was younger. Fans dragged him for filth. Bro said $6,700 a month wasn't enough. That's literally 6 iPhones, 300 Uber rides, and a small apartment. What more did you want? A private jet? They weren't letting him live it down. Meanwhile, 50 leaned into his brand as the king of petty. He didn't walk back his comments. He doubled down. He liked shady tweets, reposted memes, and dropped cryptic one-liners on Instagram that made the internet scream. At one point, he posted a picture of himself counting money with the caption, "Not for you." Savage doesn't even cover it. This man was running a masterclass in humiliation. And if you thought the blogs were going to stay quiet, think again. TMZ plastered the story everywhere. YouTube commentators uploaded 20-minute breakdowns with clickbait titles like 50 Cent just ended his own son's career. And gossip blogs turned the feud into a soap opera with daily updates. Shade Room had comments so messy they needed a mop. Some fans said they couldn't believe a father would embarrass his son this way, while others screamed that Marquise deserved it for acting like a man-child. But the wildest twist, fans started comparing the feud to famous celebrity fallouts. Some said this was the rap game's version of Britney Spears vs. her dad, except with more memes and less conservatorship. Others compared it to Michael Jackson and Joe Jackson, except flipped upside down. The dad isn't abusing the son, he's roasting him in front of the world. One even said, "This is giving Kardashian-level drama, but with way better punchlines." Honestly, they weren't wrong. The reactions weren't just online either. Everyday people weighed in at barbershops, beauty salons, and workplaces. It became the ultimate generational argument. Older folks said Marquise needed to grow up. Younger folks argued 50 should have been a better dad. Some even debated whether child support should have a statute of limitations. Imagine being in Congress debating bills while Twitter debates if 27 is too old for Pampers. Wild times. Meanwhile, the memes kept evolving. TikTok creators acted out skits of 27-year-olds asking their parents for child support. One viral video showed a guy in a business suit whining to his mom for allowance, only to get roasted. The caption, "When you're old enough to apply for a mortgage but still want child support," millions of views. And as if things weren't messy enough, the music industry smelled opportunity. A few underground rappers dropped diss tracks about Marquise, roasting him for being 27 in a stroller. Producers sampled 50's quote, "You too grown for child support," and turned it into a drill anthem. Suddenly, teenagers were doing TikTok dances to it, completely detached from the fact that this was a real father-son implosion. Imagine being roasted by your dad and then becoming a TikTok trend nightmare fuel. But the most savage part, 50's enemies circled like vultures. Ja Rule stans crawled out of the woodwork, making memes about how 50 couldn't even handle his own household. One fan tweeted, "50 ended Ja Rule's career but can't even end his own son's allowance requests." The irony was too juicy. Even Rick Ross allegedly dropped a sly comment online about bosses not raising beggars. Shots fired everywhere. The longer the feud played out, the less it looked like a one-time outburst and the more it felt like a generational grudge match. Fans realized this wasn't about money at all. This was about resentment, abandonment, and years of bitterness boiling over. The child support line was just the spark. The gasoline? Two egos too big to apologize. And yet, in the middle of all this chaos, one fact kept haunting people: their family. No matter how many memes, no matter how many clapbacks, this is still a father and son destroying each other in front of millions. Some fans called it entertainment, others called it tragic, but everyone agreed it was addictive, like a reality show you know you shouldn't watch, but can't turn off. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, more layers started surfacing. Alleged texts, old interviews, whispers of betrayal. The internet kept digging, and the more they dug, the uglier it looked. At this point, it wasn't just about 50 vs. Marquise. It was about the legacy of 50 Cent, the myth of the self-made hustler, and whether he'd just turned his own bloodline into his biggest enemy. The internet couldn't look away. And trust me, this storm wasn't slowing down. The smoke cleared. But the damage? Oh, that was permanent. This wasn't just a father and son beef. This was a generational wildfire that scorched everything in its path: reputations, relationships, and the carefully polished image of one of hip-hop's most ruthless moguls. The first big casualty? Marquise's credibility. For years, he'd been trying to carve out an identity separate from his father's shadow. But now, that identity was reduced to a punchline. No matter what he does from here on out, music, acting, podcasting, the world is going to side-eye him and whisper, "Isn't that the 27-year-old still begging for child support?" That's a stain no PR team can bleach out. Imagine trying to drop a mixtape and the top YouTube comment is just a stroller emoji. Career over before it even started. But 50 didn't come out spotless either. Fans who once hailed him as the ultimate hustler started questioning his heart. Sure, the pettiness is funny. The memes are legendary. But at the end of the day, this is still his son. Some people couldn't shake the image of a father so cold he'd roast his own bloodline for clout. For the first time, cracks appeared in 50's armor. The king of power moves suddenly looked less like a boss and more like a man trapped in his own bitterness. The public reaction split into camps. Some praised 50 for teaching tough love, claiming Marquise needed to grow up and stop embarrassing himself. Others said 50 crossed the line, that no amount of beef could justify humiliating his child on a global stage. The argument stretched across podcasts, barbershops, group chats, even family dinners got awkward when the topic came up. One uncle yelling, "At 27, I was in Vietnam," while the cousins counter with, "But dads should always provide." It turned into a nationwide therapy session nobody signed up for, and then came the ripple effects. Other celebrity families started side-eyeing each other, terrified their drama would be next. Industry insiders whispered that 50's brutal honesty might open the floodgates for other stars' kids to air grievances. If you thought this was just about one father and son, you were wrong. This was a cultural shift, a crack in the facade of the perfect celebrity family image. If 50 Cent could publicly annihilate his own blood, what's stopping anyone else? Meanwhile, Marquise tried to clap back. He gave interviews. He dropped long emotional posts. He framed himself as the victim of a cold father who abandoned him. But no matter what he said, the internet dragged him right back to the stroller jokes. Screenshots from years ago kept resurfacing, fans reminding him about the time he complained $6,700 a month wasn't enough. Every attempt at sympathy got drowned out by memes of baby bottles, cribs, and captions like, "Somebody check if Gerber is cutting checks. The internet is undefeated." And in this war, Marquise was hopelessly outmatched. The irony. Both men were losing, even while trying to win. 50 won the headlines, but at the cost of looking like the most savage dad alive. Marquise won sympathy from a few, but lost dignity from millions. And yet, neither backed down. Pride ran the show, and reconciliation looked about as likely as 50 and Ja Rule dropping a joint album. As the weeks dragged on, the drama mutated into something bigger. YouTube channels turned the feud into a mini-series. Podcasts debated fatherhood in the age of social media. Psychologists weighed in, diagnosing generational trauma while sipping their lattes. It became more than gossip, it became a case study. A reminder that money doesn't buy maturity, and fame doesn't heal broken families. And fans? They were addicted. Every cryptic post from 50, every teary-eyed clip from Marquise, every new meme, it kept the fire blazing. People who hadn't thought about 50 Cent in years were suddenly tuned in, waiting for the next clapback like it was a season finale. It was messy. It was tragic. It was hilarious. It was everything reality TV wishes it could be. The consequences went beyond the family tree. Some brands allegedly got nervous about partnering with Marquise, afraid of backlash. Some fans even said they'd start boycotting 50's shows. Though let's be honest, when the next season of Power drops, they'll be right there binge watching. But the point was clear. The feud had spilled outside of Instagram and into real life. And yet, despite the wreckage, there was an undeniable truth. People couldn't stop watching. Because scandals like this aren't just drama, they're mirrors. They force fans to look at their own messy families, their own grudges, their own generational beefs, and think, Damn. Maybe we're not so bad after all. 50 and Marquise had become unwilling entertainment, the world's most dysfunctional soap opera. But here's the kicker, this isn't over. If you know 50 Cent, you know he doesn't quit. He doesn't forgive. He doesn't move on. He drags. He waits. He plots. And Marquise? He's too bitter, too bruised, too stubborn to let it die. This feud isn't a one-season arc. This is a franchise. And we, the audience, are strapped in whether we like it or not. So now we're left with the aftermath. A father and son who may never share a peaceful holiday dinner again. Fans who will never look at child support the same way. And an internet that turned their pain into punchlines. The reputations are scorched. The family ties are severed. And the stage is set for the next round. Because in the world of 50 Cent, every beef is eternal, and if this is how he treats his own son, imagine what he's got in store for everyone else. And there you have it, 50 Cent didn't just clap back. He detonated a nuke on his own bloodline and live-streamed the fallout for the world to see. This wasn't father vs. son. This was pay-per-view, family edition. Forget boxing. Forget versus. The only fight anyone's watching now is 50 vs. Marquise. And spoiler alert, the stroller jokes won. But here's the thing, this is just round one. You know 50, the petty king himself, isn't done. If he can buy out Ja Rule's concert just to make him rap to empty chairs, what do you think he's going to do to his own son? The internet better keep receipts and popcorn on standby, because the next explosion is coming. So smash that like button like it owes you child support. Drop a comment, whose side are you on? The hustler dad who built an empire from scratch, or the 27-year-old who still thinks allowance is a human right? Don't just watch in silence, pick a side, because this is the messiest custody battle the internet has ever seen, and you're officially part of the jury. And of course, hit that subscribe button. Around here, scandals never sleep, and neither do we. From rap feuds to reality TV meltdowns, we drag it, dissect it, and laugh at it until the truth sounds crazier than fiction. Trust me, tomorrow's headline will make today look like kindergarten drama. This is the circus. This is the chaos. This is the internet's favorite guilty pleasure. You've been watching Truth Tattle, where the scandals are hot, the tea is boiling, and the drama always extra messy.